Ninja Rob podcast with Marco Perazzo and Tim Carpenter. The podcast for the true martial artist.
It's a big week for the podcast.
How so?
Number one.
Well, we didn't introduce ourselves.
Bro, we'll get to that. Let's get to the...
You're listening to Marco Perazzo speaking right now. Well, no. Tim Carpenter speaking right now. Marco Perazzo was speaking a moment ago.
All right, are we done?
Speaking right now.
Are we done with all the bureaucracy?
Yeah.
All right. I love that Hickson quote, by the way. When he fought Yoji Anjo, and they asked if they needed to sign the waiver, he goes, "Let's forget the bureaucracy. Let's just fight." Anyway, speaking of fights and bureaucracy, we almost had the challenge match between Devin and Gilly. Almost. Devin catches up with me on Monday. He says, "Yo, can you be at the school at 11?" I was like, "I had some things going on, but why? What's up?" He goes, "I think the challenge match is going to happen. He wants to come in." I go, "I will rearrange my schedule to make this happen." So as I just unfortunately, I'm going to have to declare us winners in the beef, excluding you.
Yeah, I'm with Gilly.
Yeah, you lost. You lost in the beef because he backed out. Dev texted him and said, "Yo, school's ready. We'll be there at 11." And what happened? What happened, Dev?
He said, "Oh, I thought you meant the boxing gym." And then I just put up the emoji of the dude like walking out the room, and he just puts all laugh out louds. And he's answered with nothing but laugh out louds the whole time. Yeah, he's not.
So we won. He caved.
He wants to trick me to go in the boxing gym so he can punch my head off, because that's what he does.
I've seen him box. I don't think he can punch your head off.
I mean, not punch my head off, but he can box better than me.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, now he might be able to box better than you, but I don't know if he could fight better than you.
That's different.
Right? Yeah.
It's I told him.
And even if you guys were boxing, your fight ability might carry you a decent amount into it.
I'm sure.
I don't know what.
He trained with the Gracies.
And he's
only trained with a bootleg.
Wow, man, a bootleg. For all those new listeners out there, I am bootleg Jiu Jitsu instructor.
We might have to change the name of the podcast to Bootleg Karate Instructors.
I know, right? Man, we got a lot of ideas floating around today. None of them were written down up until 5 minutes ago, but it's what we do here at Ninja Rob. But so Gilly, he threw up the white flag. We're moving on. Maybe we'll beef with Cassidy or Meek Mill or somebody. We're gonna move up the Philly rapper food chain.
Are there any other rappers that train martial arts?
Wiz Khalifa.
Wiz Khalifa does Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guys from Dilated Peoples did Jiu Jitsu.
jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. They actually, you hear them mention the Gracies and Pride and all that other stuff. I don't know if any.
Wiz looked like he's really going hard at it though. Like he's not
like
been
he's
rapping,
like,
and he hasn't rapped in like a couple of years. It's been nothing
training?
but fighting.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I mean, I wonder what his bank account must feel. Muay Thai's not that.
Doesn't pay very
no,
much.
he's already got a lot of money.
Right. I wonder how much he has to pay Amber though.
Hmm.
Yeah, see, you know Amber Rose.
I actually used to work with her.
Really?
She worked at Glam.
Oh,
She would promote before she was a stripper. She would promote like these lesbian parties.
Okay.
And it was on like Tuesday nights, I think, and I would work Tuesday nights. And at the time, she said she was a lesbian.
Right.
Yeah, she used to have a girlfriend and everything. She lived out
But
in
she
Collinswood.
used to come in there when she was like.
Well, she's from South Philly originally.
Yeah, she was in Glam all the time back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to work with her.
Nice. We're covering all kinds of subjects today. This is great. Wiz Khalifa, Amber
Me
Rose.
and Amber Rose go way back.
Yeah.
I don't think her name was Amber Rose back then, though.
I don't know what she's part Cape Verdean.
Yeah, I remember her telling me that.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what Cape Verde
So it's an
was.
island off the coast of Africa, and they're known for the beauty of their women. That's one of their things. Yeah.
Much like South Philly.
Much like South Philly, right? Then don't ask me how I know all this. So, anyway, this podcast, outside of the beginning 10 minutes, is going to be somewhat dedicated to the beginner and the guy or gal, or however you identify. You get more of those at your school than I do at mine.
The alphabet people.
The alphabet people, as Chappelle would like to call them. We're going to talk about some things on how we run our school and how you as a beginner or a white belt or as somebody looking to get involved in the martial arts, what you could kind of expect, look forward to, understand the questions you should ask, maybe some of the questions you shouldn't, right? Why things are done a certain way, so forth and so on. So
that's interesting. What questions shouldn't someone ask?
So what question shouldn't someone ask, right? So I had a kid ask me, how many fighters do you have here? Right? Yeah, and I didn't answer him. I just responded back, well, how many fights do you have? Right? And he goes 0. I said, well, I have the same amount of fighters. So we're equal on it. It's just kind of, there are some questions where, like, if you ask somebody their lineage, if you understand what that is, maybe that's an important question. Like,
Right.
I had a guy recently walk through the school, inspect every room that I had, looked at the linen closet, looked where I keep cleaning products. It was all very odd. So, and it was off-putting, and I didn't reach back out to the guy to have him come back in.
Really?
Yeah, it was just
Say
weird
anything?
that no, he was just, and he talked to me the whole time with his mouthpiece in, which was also
That's annoying. That's so as a beginner, one thing you should do, and just general etiquette, is if you have something in your mouth and you're going to talk to somebody, you should take it out of your mouth. And I
the
think,
general rule
you know,
of thumb.
The problem is, like, when you're training, people have it in for a while and they forget that it's in, and they just.
I had a
start talking.
20-minute conversation by
Devin
my
was
desk.
doing it last week.
Yeah.
He had
With
his
his
mouthpiece in.
Yeah. But a 20-minute conversation, yeah. But Devin has a low-profile mouthpiece,
Mm-hmm.
and this guy had like a shock doctor that it was, it was pretty off-putting.
It's not just hard to understand what they're saying. It's just like people drool and spit when
Yeah.
they have a mouthpiece in.
My
and they're trying to talk.
mouthpiece looks like it's the same thing as like Invisalign.
Yeah,
dog.
it's
Like-
not- it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But
So, and we were playing kind of chicken with it, where I wasn't going to ask him to take it out, and I guess he was waiting for me to ask him to take, and neither of us broke. So, yeah, it's all very odd. So, Tim, somebody contacts you, like, what's the normal way for a prospective student that we'll just go under the idea that they haven't really trained before in an organized school? Like, how are
Yeah,
most people contacting?
I almost always ask people when I first talk to them, have you ever trained before? Because
Right.
that can change the way that I introduce them to the school. So if somebody's trained for 3 years, I don't put them one-on-one with one of the coaches. I'll usually have him just jump into class.
Okay.
Like if a guy's a blue belt from another school, I'm not gonna be like, all right, one of these guys is gonna show you how to escape the mount.
Right.
Like he probably already knows it.
Right.
But so a brand new person that hasn't trained before.
Well, and that would be probably 85, 90% of the people.
90%, yeah. Most people haven't trained before when they come in. I'll send them a text, say, hey, do you want to come check out the gym? This is paraphrasing. This isn't the exact.
Right.
I'll say, you want to come check out the gym and try some classes? Then we set up a time, and I tell them, I was like, when you come in, you're going to have, you're going to be working, you'll be in the class, but you'll be mostly working one-on-one with a coach. And then after that, he'll go, sorry.
I have a sore wrist here.
After that, he'll go over, the schedule, prices, and he'll figure out which program works best for you. And then during the class, they basically go over just some basic. If it's jiu-jitsu, it's just basic, like the classic mount escape, an arm bar, rear naked choke.
And this is in the class. They're going over that.
They're in the class off to the side working one-on-one.
Gotcha.
With the coach.
Okay, so it's a separate lesson to what's being taught
Right.
to the group.
But they also, when I teach, they stop and get to watch me teach everybody else.
Okay.
And get a feel for what the classes run like, and then also how I teach. And they see like, oh, these guys are learning like this cool, weird
Whatever
stuff.
happens to be, yeah.
And then, but then they go and they learn like the basics. So it's like it gives them something to sort of look forward to.
So you'll invite a beginner to class at a beginner time. So what time's your beginner class? Say on a Tuesday.
Tuesday's a mixed level class.
Okay, so when's your beginner classes?
Mondays and Wednesdays,
Mondays
6
at-
o'clock. So
all
I
right.
usually don't. I like when somebody comes to check out the gym, if possible. I like them to come in when I'm there.
Okay.
So because I have 2 gyms, so I'm at one gym 3 days a week and the other gym 3 days a week. So I always try to get them in there when I'm there.
Okay.
So I can meet them. I just like to introduce myself.
Right, for sure.
But I also have them. The coach will tell them, be like, this is a mixed level class. Your classes are going to be Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. Those are the classes you want to come to. 'Cause Those are
Gotcha.
beginner classes. And then he'll sit down, figure out a program. If he signs up, he gets his gi, and then he kind of picks his days that he wants to train. And I will allow beginners to come into the mixed level class because I
Okay.
pretty much always have assistants there that will, if the person's pure beginner, they'll work with the assistant instructor on the basics.
Okay.
And then after a couple weeks, they'll usually able to get in with the mixed level class. But the basics class are just basics, so they follow the curriculum. And And I base my mixed level classes off of the theme of the curriculum. So if it's guard passes, we're working guard passes. If it's sweeps, we're working sweeps. It's just a little bit more advanced in the mixed level class.
Okay.
And Muay Thai is similar. They work one-on-one with a coach during the class. They get a feel for what it's like to be in the class. They do the warm-up. They do everything, but they do just basic punches, kicks.
Kickers?
That's how you
Man,
say it. That's how you say it in Thailand.
Oh, because
Yeah,
I was
that's
gonna
what
let
they call
that
them.
slide, but over here, preparation H over here.
That's what they call kicks in Thailand. Kickers. It's a little known fact. So they just work the basics. They basically do it on the bag, and then maybe they'll hit some pads with the coach. Same basic deal.
Okay. And most people are, when you said they're contacting you via your website or calling
I would say
you.
most of the time I get everything. So I get Facebook. Most of it comes through on the website, but I'll get Facebook messages. I'll get phone calls. I get people just drop in sometimes.
Okay.
I got a couple people drop in this week, and I don't prefer drop-ins.
I know we had talked about that in the
'cause
past.
They
yeah.
usually drop in while I'm teaching class,
Right.
or while something's going on, so I can't really get a chance to talk to them. So I usually just I get their information. I will schedule them like right there for like you come back tomorrow and try class.
It's always the best, right?
So and every once in a while, a person's like, "Yeah, I'll do it right now. Like I'll jump in."
That's
That's great,
yeah,
you
that's optimal.
So yeah, if they message me, if they come in on the website, they usually get a text message. If they call, I talk to them or call them back.
Do you email them or just text message them?
I text them twice. I text them. If they don't respond back, I text them again. If
Okay.
they don't respond to that, I send an email. So, and if they don't respond to that, then
You have follow-ups or no?
I don't invest too much time in any one person. Like if they want to do it, they should be
Right.
They should be responding.
Well, right.
I
No,
don't want
but,
to chase people down.
but like some people. So if you there's automated systems where you can have kind of like.
I have that set up on like if you message me on Facebook, it's sort of like a interaction back and forth
Right.
that'll get them in contact with me personally.
Nice.
But I don't have it set up like automatic.
Right.
They're like Crunch Fitness keeps on, hitting me over and over and over
Right,
again.
right.
Edge.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
please leave me alone.
Well, so what's their whole theory is they sell till you either buy or die, right?
Yeah.
Like you dying
Yeah,
is
that's the like I've learned some of that stuff through going through like taking business courses and reading books like Buy or Die.
right.
Talk to them until they buy or die. But I'm somewhat lazy and I want
Somewhat.
well in certain areas. But I also I don't want to I don't want people there that aren't excited to be there, kind of. You know what I mean?
no,
I'd much rather have someone that's just like, I want to do this than me having to chase them down. And then, because then those people, if they're hard to get in, a lot of times it's hard to keep them staying.
Right.
you know?
I agree. So I think that 90% of the successful people at most of our schools are going to be people that were very easy to contact within the first couple tries, right? They were looking forward to hearing from us and wanted to get that response and, like that. They're not out there kicking tires.
Right. I also go through phases. Like sometimes I'm like on top of it. Like I will follow up more with some people. And every once in a while I'll go back through a list of people that have never responded,
Right.
and I'll send them out another text or an email.
Okay.
And every once in a while one of those people will come back in. So
Right.
I do that, but it's again,
Because the
I'm
worst
lazy and disorganized.
the worst thing that so I'm probably less lazy than you. Maybe have
You're
a
little
couple.
more automated, right?
Yeah,
You have some-
exactly.
You have
That's
some
a-
like system set up.
Yeah, which because I'm not super competitive, but I would hate for somebody to join somewhere else
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't give that extra try. That would be the thing that would really oh, sorry, man, you didn't contact me quick enough. Because one of the compliments that I get is, I mean, you were one of the first schools to contact me. I contacted
That's what
a
happened.
bunch.
That's how I ended up there.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty quick. If somebody, I try to get back to them. Sometimes I'll get an opt-in on my phone,
Right.
and I text them like right away.
Right.
Like, it's funny. I had an opt-in yesterday. So talking about questions that you shouldn't ask.
Yes.
This is like very upsetting usually to a martial arts instructor. I said, "Hi, this is Tim. Would you like to come check out the gym and try a free class?" And the guy responds, "I want to know how much it costs and what the schedule is." Like not even like
Hi, hello.
not that just like
Uh,
I want to know this.
That
So
was going to be
then-
one of the questions that I don't think you should ask, and there's going to be very specific reasons
Of
why.
course, you should ask at a certain point, but you shouldn't open with that.
Right.
Because what I said was, I was like, "All right, what are you interested in, Muay Thai or Jiu Jitsu?"
Right.
He's like, "I'm interested in both. Are you interested in this location or that location? I'm like, okay, try UFC gym. They're cheaper. And that's what I just left it at that.
Right.
And then he responded back. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. He's like, I didn't mean to come off rude. Then we were able to sort of like set it up. But
So you used the Perazzo method of befriending people.
it was just, I was like a little bit, like, again, it's like rude. If you're going to be rude to me, I'm not going to like,
Bend over.
right.
Right.
So
So yeah, so that's what I get a decent amount where, not a decent amount, but every once in a while it's like right out of the gate. How much is it? Hey, nice to meet you. Let's kiss first. You
Right.
know, before we jump into bed, because people get upset. I had a woman complain to me that, hey, why won't you tell me how much it costs? I go, I will tell you. I'll send you. I'll eventually send you. Said, why is it so difficult to get prices from martial arts schools? And the business of it, and I think they're right, the martial arts business guys, is that if you've never done martial arts before, the professional pricing of a martial arts class could be scary if you don't have context.
Right.
Right. If you haven't taken the class, you haven't seen the gym, you haven't interacted with the owner, you haven't seen what the level of professionalism it is. Because if you're comparing it dollar to dollar to Edge Fitness or whatever, yeah, we're 15 times more expensive than your normal gym membership, but we're also giving you 30 to 40x what your normal gym membership's going to give you.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's with anything without context that people ask. I don't think that people mean to be rude to you guys when they ask those questions at all. People call me every day and they ask me, hey, man, how much are one of your drawings? We would have to sit down or get on the phone and talk about what you're getting, because do you need me to do the Sistine Chapel?
Yeah.
Or are you asking me to design you a logo for $300?
Right.
But, like if you're looking at this picture I drew of 50 Cent, you need $3,000 to even talk about that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with you guys. Like, it's always going to be better for people to come into the school, have the experience like Marco had me come in. I don't know how much this is. We do a trial on it for my son, and I see what it is. And now I'm kind of like sold almost on like, unless he just tries to hit me over the head with the craziest number I've ever heard in my life,
Right.
I'm in. I'm sold already.
And that's the thing is, and I think going back to what you're saying is because most people don't know what to ask. That's why they'll come out of the gate asking price, right? So if they don't know what to ask, and most of the time, unfortunately, I've seen, and I don't have any hard data on it, is the people that are really strong about asking for price are just really looking for information. Because once I answer the price or schedule question, then I lose contact with them most of the time. Right?
People are afraid to waste your time as well, so they want to know. Because if they want to know, so they're
I have a couple things. They want to know, but also, again, I give them price without class context. Right? For a child, they get to hear me talk to the kids, what we talk about, what we do, what we're covering. Seeing other parents there. It's kind of like, well, why does he want blah, blah, blah amount of money? That's crazy. I could take them to Gymboree and it's this much. Well, it's not the same, So I do kind of similar to you. I don't have staff. I used to have some staff, but I'm kind of running the school as I'm there 7 days a week, just about. I have some people that are helping me teach class, Bill Bell. I used to have Shane and Rachel, but they opened up their own school. Congratulations to them. Shout out to Wolf Jiu Jitsu with the killer logo and stickers. As I look at Devin. And I have Bill Bell helping. I have Jen helps with class where she covers classes and teaches for me. I have a couple other people that I can lean on, but I much like you, I want to be there when somebody's trying their first class. So most of the time people are contacting us through the website, right? They're interested in our Maple Shade location or our Delran location. That's the first thing we want to figure out. So I do both. The first thing I do is I send an email, and then I follow up the email with a text message. The text message says, hey, this is Marco. I see you're interested in classes. I sent you an email that explains to you everything, has a schedule on there, and some class times where you can come in and take a free lesson, right? So I like referring them back to one point of contact as opposed to having two. So now I know, all right, they got an email, and they got a text message pointing out the email, because I think the open rates on text messages like 97%. Like 97% of the text messages are open emails. It might, the numbers are way lower.
15%.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I use an extension on Chrome called If No Reply, right? So it's one of the few ones that does something like this. It's like $15 a month. I have a whole series of emails put in, right? First one is I have them broken out. So this is the manual part of the process, right? So if somebody opts in on Monday, I click the Monday button and it gives them the next 2 days to be able to come in for class. So it offers them a class on Tuesday, Wednesday, right? And then the class times that we have, it's got the schedule in there, so forth and so on. And the reason why this extension is called If No Reply is that it'll send out another email in a couple days if there was no reply, right? And then a week later, another email, and then every week, and then it spans out. Like as it gets further, the emails are coming less, right? So I don't have the hard data with me, but I could tell you that this will tell me how many of the emails get opened, how many get responded to. So it's also nice to know. And you could see, like it's odd over the lifetime that I've been using this 2 years, like emails on Wednesdays get opened less than an email on Friday, right? You know, like there's data that we see that whatever. And then as the emails get deeper into the chain, less and less emails are getting opened, right? Like the first email, like 80% say, right? And then the second email, maybe it's 30, and then the next 10, so forth and so on. And I think those go on for about 26 to 28 weeks. It's at one point, I even forgot that this was in there in the email chain that I offer a free private lesson with me if you respond to the email. Oh, nice. Right? And I had one guy take me up on it. Yeah. Right? So out of like the thousands of emails that I sent, and
do you have them come in and try the class? Are they in the class, or do they do one-on-one?
So for that one, it was an invite to a free private lesson, right? Typically, if it hasn't gotten that far into the email chain or the email, the autoresponder, what I have them do is come into a normal class, right? So you're coming into either mixed level and or beginner, preferably beginner class, right? I'm just the way I like things. Monday through Friday, I have a beginner class every day at 6:15. So all of my students know I could show up any day 6:15. I could take a beginner class, be it Muay Thai, be it Jiu Jitsu. That's going to be changing a little bit, but and I'll invite them to those times. But then I'll also invite them to the mixed or what we call all levels Jiu Jitsu classes, which are on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, like in the afternoon. And I explain to people that hey, this isn't taught for the beginner, but you're here because afternoon classes could be open to you, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. But most people, if they don't have jobs that preclude them from coming at night, then they'll come to the nighttime, the beginner classes. So if they haven't asked about price yet, we set them up. I have a Google Calendar that is connected that says NJMA intros, right? And then on that Google Calendar, it's connected to another, it's like an app or whatever called appointment reminder that I put the person's first name in and I put their email address, not their phone number in. And then the morning of the appointment, the app pings the calendar and it says, oh, I have to text this person to remind them what time the intro lesson is, right? So then they get a text saying, hey, don't forget you have an intro lesson at New Jersey Martial Arts. It gives them the address, gives them the time. Please respond yes if you're coming. So then I get, and he's again automated, confirmation. I just have to stay on top of updating the calendar when I set the appointment. They come in and they take the class, and since we do both Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai for the adults, and this is all adult centered right now. Yeah. If their first class was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, during the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class, I'll come up and talk to them. So they're jumping right into a class, and we'll have somebody buddy up with them, a senior student that'll kind of like help them through the warm up and be their training partner during the class, so that I know that they're dealing with somebody that's friendly, but also isn't going to hurt them, beat them up too bad, make it a good experience, right?
Too bad.
Too bad. Just enough where they see the validity of what we're doing. So before they leave, I say, hey, I would love to sit down with you and talk, price and schedule and all that other stuff. But I said, it's mandatory that you come back and take a second class. Well, I was only really interested in jiu-jitsu. I get it. But I just want you to try a Muay Thai class, right? I want you to try a Muay Thai class because I really feel like as a martial arts instructor that you should be well-rounded, right? And if you have the time, learning both as you start is the smart way to go, right? Being able to punch and kick, being able to grapple, man, you really become a complete martial artist. And now I do that for a couple reasons, right? So it's way easier to get somebody in the first time, right? It's not so easy to get them to come back the second time. So them coming back the second time really shows me
They're really about it.
they're really about it.
Yeah.
It's a level of commitment, and they want to come back to us, right? So from that standpoint, like that's been the best change that we've made as a school from years ago, where we would do like a private one-to-one lesson, right? Like separate from class. So while I'm telling them that I'm going to be scheduling their next class, I also tell them, hey, when you come back, we're going to sit down. We're going to talk about pricing. We're going to talk about schedule, and I'm also going to offer you a discount for joining after your second class. So I let them know that you get a discount for joining after the second class, but I'm also letting them know that at one point I'm going to be asking you for money. So let's not make it weird, right? Weird on my part or weird on your part. Also, so that just makes it easy that he knows that there's going to be some business attended to, or she knows some business attended to after class, and that there's going to be paperwork signed, so forth and so on. And they come in, and I do, if they come back to that second class, and I don't have the hard numbers, but I'm pretty accurate that 85 to 90% of the people that come back for the second class join.
Yeah.
The 10% that don't has always been because it just wound up being too expensive for them. Right now, how many people stay? We know what the numbers are with all, like the attrition rates and all that other stuff. But from that standpoint, that's the process that you go through at my school, and especially because I'm the one that's doing just about everything. I'm signing people up. I'm not teaching the beginner class, but I have guys teaching for me. That's great. So most of the time when I have to sign people up, it's during the advanced class. So I've already let my students know when I have to sign somebody up, one of the senior students is going to be called upon. As the guys are like shark teeth. Who's up next, right? To start class and to run class, and this is what we're working on. I go, because this is the pivotal part to what we do. If I can't sign them up, right? Like and also if I can't rely on you to run class, then I'm not going to be able to sign them up. If I don't sign them up, I'm not going to be able to teach a class. So there's kind of an abridged version of how a beginner gets contacted. And like I said, what I like about If No Reply is that it just keeps sending the email, and it stops when they reply, right? So they're not getting bombarded. Once I've had an interaction, then the interaction becomes personal, right? If I haven't gotten an interaction, the interaction is automated, right? And we're small enough. I'm looking at us like we're boutiques, right? If we're a true boutique, then you can get that more one-to-one attention.
Yeah, I just like to make sure I meet people because I want to judge whether or not I want them there too.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, every once in a while, there'll be a guy comes in with just like a shitty attitude that, like you said, the guy's like, "How many footage you got?"
Right.
Like a guy like that. It's like,
or the weird guy with the mouthpiece. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not sending you a schedule. The other thing I did that's been helpful is,
what if he's listening to this? What if did
I mean,
you tell him about the podcast?
I did. So that's fine. I mean, the guy was weird. I'm sorry, and he's like a doctor too, which is.
So he knows exactly. You're talking about him now.
Oh, he's like a he's a psychiatrist. Yeah,
those people are crazy.
Yeah. No, I know.
NJ.
Yeah. So, and I tried to connect with the guy. I said, man, a really good friend of mine does. Oh, yeah. I was like, nothing, man. It was like I was talking to somebody in Mindhunter. So, yeah. So like that's how we do it. But so the reason why I do it this way now to set them up to come in during a class time was one of the big rebuttals, or what's the word I'm looking for when people don't want to buy. Anyway, rejections. Yeah. So one of the objections. So one of their objections was if we set them up for a time, say at 4:00, that was convenient for them to come in, and they love it. Well, the class is at 6:15. I can't make 6:15. Right. So I'm pre-qualifying you by having you come in during a class time, knowing that, or you've already made it to 2.
Yeah, you've already shown me you can make it.
You could already show me you can make it. Now, the other problem we were running up against sometimes is an excuse that people would say prior would be, oh, I didn't bring my wallet. Really? And I'd be like, I'm a full-grown adult. I'm always walking around with my wallet and my ID and all that other stuff. But because now I tell them that I'm going to be offering them a discount, I have had 0 people use that excuse that they don't have their wallet, where before people would say, oh, I didn't bring my wallet with me.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody says that, they're probably most likely they're lying.
Yeah, well,
They're just not.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like,
But I have like, so people stop saying that. You
Yeah.
know, it's like kind of, you know, you're blocking off that objection in the beginning. So yeah, don't be weird, right? Don't ask.
we got enough weirdos.
Yes, we do. The people that stick are the weird ones. So yeah, if you're a beginner and you're looking to get into the martial arts, so every school has its own process of how they enroll a student, and kind of just give yourself to it and let it happen, and then make your decision based on that. You feel comfortable, I think, and you like what they're teaching. Right, Tim?
Word.
Word is bond. So now you've joined and you're a white belt. Devin, what's your experience been as kind of like somebody? So, you know, I wanted to ask you this question because you were taking kind of what was your buddy's name?
No, he's trying to
No,
diss people.
No, not even a little bit. No.
All right.
Well, I forget. No,
My boy's name is Sharon Townsend.
All right. So he was giving you basically private lessons here.
Yes.
Right. So
And jiu-jitsu?
Yes.
yeah, he's a blue belt. I think he wrestled.
Yeah. So he was
athletic dude.
he's basically a superstar wrestler. He's
Okay.
great at that. He's also does
built like a Greek god. Like you see
Yeah,
pictures of the kid.
he's like an action figure.
Yeah.
Marco knows he's pretty strong dude, strong as
good,
hell.
Good shape, good, good solid jiu-jitsu.
And he does jujitsu. He doesn't care about fighting though, which is the other thing. Like he models and like wants to be an actor and model. He really he's very lazy with the fighting part. Like
Right.
he just doesn't want to do it. But he was training me. And pretty much he was whooping my ass.
You know what I'm saying? That's what he was doing.
So for you, what's been the difference now that you've come to kind of like a school of art, my school, right, and taking organized classes and having access to like open mats versus getting private lessons from a like a talented but still a blue belt?
It's a big difference because one is no gauge of. I don't get to see two other people doing the moves, right? So that's the first part.
Yeah.
So there's times where he's trying to show me something, but I can't see from any other angle where he's putting his legs. Why is the choke working on me, but I can't get it on him? He can't see it either. So he might have to have it filmed, or he's trying to explain to me, you need to drop your knee, you switch your hip, but it's different when you're in a class with other people. Also, it helps being involved in a class, knowing your place, knowing where you are. If you're the dude off the street and you've been fighting on the street, you could go undefeated, 300 fights. Go in this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Totally different story. And then you can see the growth of getting killed to surviving to being at a stalemate with people to getting some submissions. And it's like, holy shit. Like, I'm literally watching certain things work, and it's mind blowing every time. Even up to the lesson the other day when you're showing us how to frame people off, by making sure that when we're on our backs before they even get it, don't let them get the chest to chest. And how much having that little bit of separation with bumping your hips and pushing them off, how much easier that made it. And it's like, oh, this actually works.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's been a super great experience. So I've been like completely, I wish I could just stop recording podcasts, stop drawing, stop doing everything and just live in the gym.
It's funny, like you talk about, like, so he's a blue belt and he's showing you a move. Like you said, so a lot of times with a private lesson, it can be tougher because exactly like you said, he can't see you doing it and you can't see him doing it.
Right.
But also as a blue belt, when you're a black belt, you understand each technique more. As a blue belt, he might know how to do a guillotine choke, the basics of it, but he doesn't know how to fix a guillotine choke if somebody's doing it wrong, So like, I forget who said it, there's a joke. He said to be a second grade teacher, you only have to be smarter than a second grader. Same thing, to teach somebody that doesn't know anything, you just have to know one thing more than they do, but it doesn't mean that you know enough to explain it or get them better at it.
Correct.
So that's another reason why it's good to be in a class where you have different levels. You have raw beginners, somewhat better people, super advanced people, and you can all see how everybody kind of stacks up against each other and what happens.
Right. What would be very interesting, and I know it would be a complete difference is if me and him went
Yeah.
today.
Mm-hmm.
I know it'll be
Right.
like I know it'll be a difference because I can see the growth with the people that I'm working with now every day. And when I'm in there, I kind of like seek out getting beat up. You know, like it's like certain people in there that I just like, he kills me every time. Come on, let's
Right.
go. You know what I mean?
Like you have a bunch of challenges you can like attack and like try to make progress on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and usually, and nothing against blue belts, because I think we were all teaching, or you and I were both teaching as blue belts, but is that blue belts want to show you the stuff that they think is cool most of the time,
Yeah.
not the stuff that you need to build your foundation,
Right.
when Tim or I or a professional martial arts school, jiu-jitsu, be it Muay Thai, the very first thing we got to do is build your foundation, right? If we can give you a foundation,
Right.
then all that cool, the spinning takedowns and all that other stuff make way more sense, because when they fail, you have things to fall back to.
Yeah, like even looking at that, it's just like, listen, man, the stuff that I was doing I'm not going to get that off on any person
Especially like
in
you
that
said,
class.
the just learning to keep something in between you and the guy's chest when he's passing your guard that is way more important than him teaching you how to do a berimbolo or like any kind of crazy technique that he might want to show you.
A blue belt thinks that, like teaching, again, and not beating up blue belts, but just kind of saying the progress that you make from blue to black is that, man, like a technique is complicated because it's got a lot of steps, right? Well, we did a class where it was just pinning people to the floor, right? That's not a complicated, there's not a lot of complicated steps there, but we were, like, as a black belt, I'm able to break it down. And now, not that it's becoming complicated, but you're seeing, oh wow, there's so many different parts that make.
I mean,
this
it was
work.
definitely it was complicated. He'd tell that to my butthole, man. I had to go through a lot. Like I had a hard night's sleep last night.
Just so that we understand, nothing directly happened to Devin's butthole during class. Not in class. We believe that Devin's explosive escapes have blown out his butthole and giving him hemorrhoids.
So when this is a good thing for beginners, because you hear it all the time in jiu-jitsu, is like, try to focus on not using strength, which is somewhat silly because you always want to use the correct amount of strength.
Right.
But if you use too much, you can blow out your butthole and develop
Yes.
hemorrhoids.
Clearly.
So like you said, you want to see what would happen with you and this guy today. Today you might not want to roll with him because of your situation.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
Maybe not today.
Not
After the
today.
preparation H kicks in.
Yeah. I thought I had colon cancer or something. Reading stuff on the web.
So just so everybody's aware, hemorrhoids can be caused by straining, exerting intense force, whether it be lifting weights or bench pressing somebody off you.
Right, and
trying to hold your guard too tight.
So, and Devin will do stuff in training against guys. Like, so he was going up against Chris, who owns Primal Nutrition, Big Chris, the guy, the 10th Planet guy. And Chris is big, strong, and he's been doing
He's an
jiu-jitsu.
NJMA guy.
Now he's NJMA, but he used to be 10th Planet. I'm trying to squeeze a lot of the 10th Planet out of him, right?
Yeah, interesting thing about 10th Planet. You know how they took one of the planets off the list a couple years ago?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Wait, possibly Uranus.
Pluto.
Hey-o.
that was good. that was very good.
They removed Pluto, but so now there's only 9 planets.
So now they're the true 10th planet.
No, because they would be Pluto.
Yeah, the 9th planet would now be what, Nibiru?
So what? They'd have to.
I think they would have to
go through a rebrand.
I think it should be 11th planet now.
But there's only 9.
There's only 9, but then 10th planet. I think. What was it? Your dad was into it. The Nephilim.
Nephilim.
What was the planet?
The Anunnaki. Nibiru.
Nibiru.
Yeah.
Nibiru.
Yeah.
So Nibiru now would be the
9th.
The 11th. No, because 9th would be Pluto. If you're gonna like include other.
You know how many beginners we've lost on the whole idea of what 10th, 11th, Nibiru, the Anunnaki.
I thought we were talking about buttholes getting blown out.
So, yeah, so we covered that cross-eyed stuff, and just watching them train and coaching the class and giving them the ideas that, like Chris was turning away a lot, thinking that was the better escape, and just saying, no, man, turn in. Turn in gives you the better idea when we're here rather than turning away. But Devin has some escapes that work for him, but they work for him because he's able to maximize like kind of his positioning and then be explosive, and he's able to reverse people. The problem is if his positioning isn't maximized and he does that same explosion, we have flappy butthole.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's basically when I feel desperation because I cannot figure out how to get this person off of me. So now I'm just going to have to like burst up. You know what I'm saying?
What's your buddy's name that we're going to have on? The strength coach?
Joe Zatmary.
Joe Zatmary, and that guy looks like a beast or an animal. One of the questions I want to ask him that's kind of interesting, because I watch Devin, I watch all the students train, but I watch Devin, and he looks like he's exhausted, but he can still always muster the explosion, right? And anytime I feel like I'm exhausted, I'm like, there's no explosion left. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen guys like that 5 minutes in, there's this, they look and act the same level of tired as they are an hour in.
Yeah, there's definitely a way to train for that. I've heard strength coaches talk about it, where you can be still to maintain explosive ability in an exhausted state. So it's like the explosion isn't coming from your muscles; it's coming from like your tendon sprain.
Okay.
And there's a way you can sort of train.
Oh,
that.
he's got hella tendon sprain.
I believe it's called the stretch reflex in your tendons. Can
Okay.
keep you explosive even when your muscles are completely tired. You're still loose and powerful.
Do you feel the same way, Devin? Because you look like you're able to muster that explosion.
I mean, I'm tired after we do like the jog and everything around. Like once we're done our warm up, I feel defeated. You know what I mean?
There's all different. People have different strengths. Like I'm not explosive, but I can go for a very long time.
I've never noticed that.
But I can go for a long time. Like I can go forever.
I just don't like the idea that I'm being muscled at the moment. You know what I mean? Like that's like
So I think claustrophobia can help you out to a certain extent.
It's not claustrophobia, it's realizing a truth. Like going to a school with other people hits you with a cold, hard truth.
Yeah.
I walked around for years feeling like invincible.
Yeah.
I felt confident when I see like if I saw you and you look like a menacing dude, in my head, I'm like, I'll knock him the fuck out. That's what I think in my mind. You feel what I'm saying?
I'm offended because he didn't look at me once and say anything about how.
Listen, I'm just saying I would think, obviously, if I would think I could knock him out, I would have thought I'd knock out Marco.
Hey, look. I'm gonna knock him out. Him, I might kill.
In my mind, but so like being in there is really like that's the dopest part about it. It's just like I run and tell everybody like, look, man, come down to this place. You're going to be blown away.
But you got to understand,
it's like a bunch of nerdy white guys. That beat me
it's
up.
going to like
You got to understand that that's a rare exception because most people, once they're faced with that fact, they never want to confront it again. You know what I mean? Most people don't want to like see that about themselves and then be like, oh, I need to fix this. People be like,
because for me, it makes me feel like I can be like that.
Yeah.
It's I want to be like that. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, that's one of the classic things that happens in jiu-jitsu is like big guy like you comes in feeling invincible and then there's like a 130-pound like nerd sitting there and he twists you into a pretzel and like chokes you out and you're like, and you can't do anything about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? That for a lot of people is like an eye-opening experience.
I know it was what you stretched your elbow the other day because you picked somebody up out of a triangle and they transitioned into an arm lock. But you know what I'm saying? Like picking somebody up off the floor.
Santini.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember who it was. Yeah.
Yeah, because like when I lifted him up, in my mind I always see what I would want to do.
Yeah.
That obviously I can't, and that's bang his head into the floor, right? So it's like, okay, well I can't do that. But I still wasn't prepared or thought about the arm at all. And next thing you know, and a couple of days, I was in pain, man.
Speaking of the epitome of nerdy white guy, Santini.
Best conditioned athlete in jiu-jitsu.
He might be, at least in our circle.
Yeah.
Who's better conditioned than he?
Which guy?
Santini, the kid that
that guy.
Yeah. Tim was telling me what his like. He does basically the same routine after every class.
It's like 7 days a week.
Right.
It's like it's not the same routine. It's just
he does a routine.
A routine.
Okay.
Of like it's like push-ups, kettlebells, pull-ups.
Oh yeah, I saw him one day. Yeah, I was
it's like he
what
doesn't
is this
get
dude
tired in
doing,
jiu-jitsu.
bro?
He'll train for like 2 hours, then he'll do that every day, or and sometimes he'll do it before and after.
But he's also what, like 135, 140 pounds?
I don't know.
Soaking wet.
He goes back and some.
And he's
between
you know he's
140 and
a
160.
he's a special needs teacher.
Yeah.
He teaches kids with special needs. Yeah, super like he's clearly good at his job too, and very well respected. But you wouldn't
I
think,
think he might. Have we ever talked about him on the podcast?
we have not.
I think he's going to be very excited to hear this.
Yeah,
We were just talking about how Meathead Matt gets mentioned almost every
Yeah.
episode.
Well, that's another guy that I
right.
Yeah.
Well, he's
You
like
know,
the exact opposite.
I look for.
He's also a nerd, but in different ways.
He's like a meathead nerd.
Me for sure. Yeah,
He's literally my biggest focus when I'm in there. like I told you guys, like I'm getting a championship belt. The first day that I ever in life was to beat that guy, like because he kills me in there, bro.
Yo, he made a guy tap out from crushing his sternum with his cup the other day. One of my white belts, the kid Kyle.
When I first came there, he kept suffocating me.
With his chest.
Yeah, he would
Very
put like his stomach. He would move my head straight, and then sit his stomach on it and just lay. And then it's like I can't breathe till I have to tap out. And I'm like, and then I hear Marco basically saying like, "You only a pussy taps out to this type of stuff." And I'm like, "Fuck, man, I can't." Oh, this is crazy.
Yeah, so that's some of the stuff that those realizations that you make, that there's a bunch of really tough nerds out there that are doing jiu-jitsu. And also, but the other thing too is the community. And I don't know if there's other communities like jiu-jitsu, because I've never been this deep into a community, but man, like I know if I needed something, somebody in like I either directly know somebody from jiu-jitsu or martial arts that could help me, or a second degree separation, right? And always willing to help and give a hand, and kind of like literally some of the best people I've ever
I
met.
definitely think it's different than most because of the sort of intimacy that's involved between like when you have a guy like trying to kill you.
Trying to snap your arm
Yeah, trying
and
to
respects
snap
the
your
tap,
Right. Like you guys are taking each other to the point of like almost death, but you're still compassionate enough to try not to hurt each other.
Right.
That develops a level of trust and sort of like tightness that I think you see that in like wrestling, maybe boxing a little bit, but even
boxing,
a lot of times
yes,
in
you do.
boxing, they're actually trying to hurt each other.
But
You know what I
that thing that you're talking about, like that instant bond,
Yeah.
I tried to explain this to my girlfriend like a few days ago. I was like, it's kind of weird. Like I walk into a room, people are wrestling around on the floor. I don't know a guy from a can of paint.
Mm-hmm.
And then we lock eyes and say, "Hey, you want to go?" And now me and this dude are like sweating all over each other, trying to choke each other. You're never in a human space like that,
Right.
Yeah.
except for your girl.
Right.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So afterwards, it's like, "Hey, yeah, I know this guy."
And how long did it take you to get your girl to do that?
Yeah.
But and there's studies that show that as humans we need touch. Like we need that touch is something that's necessary, no matter how unmasculine touch might be to some people. Like we need it. Right? There's stories of babies in communist countries being left in bassinets, never to be touched, and the way they develop is not good.
If they develop, a lot of times they just die.
Yeah.
They'll die without being touched.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So as humans, we need that touch. It's something that I think builds the community. Like in either boxing where you're hitting each other and grabbing each other, wrestling, judo, jiu-jitsu, that like I always say, I always want to hurt people. I never want to injure them.
Yeah.
And even when you're fighting against somebody you don't like, when they put up a good fight, it's an instant respect. If you're a primal person like I am, that I think you guys are, it's kind of like, yeah, I don't like that dude, but he tough.
Right.
I
yeah.
like it's
there's
like
there's a minimum level of respect you have for the guy. You might not have to like him, but
Right.
you still got that minimum level of respect for his skill set and his ability to fight. And I agree. I think that's I've never been in any community like that.
Yeah.
Like jiu-jitsu or
I
martial
think
arts.
it's a pretty unique, but I think it exists in the combat sports in general.
Right.
You know what I mean? And to a certain, like all like team sports have it a little bit. I just think that jiu-jitsu is so much more like tight because you're trying to actually like kill each other.
Right.
A lot of times, you know what I mean?
And like you want to train and you getting better with your friends.
And the other thing is you need them to get better. Like you need people to show up for you and help you get better.
So my friend is he's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, but he's the sports science coordinator for the Eagles. His name is Sean Hulls. He trained in my school for a little while, right? And I was saying, oh man, like football is the ultimate team sport, and he goes, no, it's not. He goes, jiu-jitsu is. I go, what do you mean? And he just said the very same thing that you said. He's like, you need your friends, your teammates to show up for you to get better. Yeah. Otherwise, you're just not.
football, you can do drills with like somebody throwing a ball to you.
But it doesn't quite matter who the guy to your right or to your left is. You still got, like they're not making you better. You're making you better. I guess to a certain degree, his love of jiu-jitsu really kind of shades his idea. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting thing for someone in the NFL to say about jiu-jitsu.
Word.
Is Bond.
Yeah, I had a Big Joe did that tournament.
How do we say his last name?
Zatmary.
It's a hell of a last. Wait, do we know what kind of last name that is?
It's Hungarian, actually.
Wait, he's your people?
Yeah, well, at least part. But SZ is a common. If you ever see SZ in front of a name, that's usually a Hungarian name.
All right.
Actually, it might just be pronounced S, like Satmary.
Satmary.
But I don't know.
All right. So I saw you were throwing. You were like, looks like you're looking to get back into the fight game.
What do you mean?
Like the videos that you guys put up of you slamming balls and ropes and.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Just working out. I always like to work out.
He runs.
He has a gym out near me in Chalfont called Lions Den.
Yeah. First time I saw it, I was like, how is Tim open around the corner from the Lions Den?
Well, you know what's funny is that when he was first going to open up, he was going to rent a space in the same business building as me.
Okay.
So he was going to be on the other side in a garage. And I was walking by. I used to walk my dog around there, and I saw like a sign that said Lions Den coming soon. I was like,
Ken Shamrock's coming?
I was like, some motherfucker's going to open up Ken Shamrock's like opening up here. I was
so you know who the Lions Den is, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
one of the first MMA schools.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to have to like.
I'm going to have to fuck somebody up.
I was like, how dare they?
Right.
But then I found out it was just the strength and conditioning
Right.
place.
Yeah. I wonder if you ever, if the Lion, like the original Lions Den, if they ever came back on him for any of that.
I doubt it.
Yeah. Who cares at that
I
point?
don't think Ken Shamrock did
No.
too much.
He's still pissed about Hoist beating him 3 different times. Or 2.
He did his first tournament. I had a bunch of guys do the tournament. The Fuji.
Okay.
PJ Day.
Yeah.
Did you have anybody do that?
No, not that I know of. We're prepping for Pan, so.
Yeah, no geese.
Yeah.
So
So Joe's a white belt, but I've met him. Seems like a super nice dude. Everybody says that he's the strongest human being they've ever trained with.
yeah, I like to say he won like the U.S. National Strongman Championships.
Okay.
For like it's like an amateur thing, but he won his weight class in the overall. So I like to tell people that he's
Strongest
guy in the
strongest
US,
amateur in America?
strongest guy in the country.
Okay.
Wow.
But so we did a YouTube video of me sort of preparing him for his first competition in jiu-jitsu. So we went over sort of like strategy for him. And it was great because his first couple matches, the guys he was going against were like real sloppy and spazzy. So he wasn't really able to like execute
Fat bodies.
like good technique. Yeah, fat guys. But his finals match was against the guy that was like almost as jacked and big as he was.
Okay.
And the guy was pretty good. So it was like exactly what we went over in the video. It was just like snap down, go behind, rear naked choke in like 30 seconds.
Right.
But we're going to have him on the podcast to talk about what it's like to compete as a beginner at some point. Hopefully in the next like week or 2.
All right. Yeah, that would definitely be awesome. And then he could tell us about how to prevent hemorrhoids, the strain of hemorrhoids from
Yeah,
training.
you might want to talk to him.
I think his arms are strong enough that he doesn't have to pull power from his bow.
This guy he deadlifts like 700 pounds.
Nothing to be alarmed about.
I'm sure he's had 1 or 2 of those.
Yeah, because I have some. I'd like to ask him about kind of high intensity, kind of dynamic training, and how you could do it and prepare for a sport like jiu-jitsu, right? Like, without injuring yourself. Because the one thing I want to make sure of is that if you're training, I'm only happy when you get injured. If you're getting injured in jiu-jitsu, I'm going to be pissed at you if you got injured doing some stupid movement that you shouldn't have been doing, or you were doing it wrong.
Right.
Yeah,
Or punching through. Did you see the guy on the internet that's like uses his forearms and breaks through watermelons?
No.
He does like a push up, and then when he pushes up, he flips, and then bursts through, and he keeps doing them in a row.
Right.
He looks like an animal, dog. It looks like like it's insane.
Watermelons don't hit back is the only problem. Right?
But they're definitely hard to break through.
It's an interesting technique. I wonder when you would need to do a push up and then throw a
Smash a
elbow.
He
watermelon.
looks like he would be like in the NFL or something.
really?
The dude's like, yeah, he just sees a monster.
Maybe if Gallagher doesn't have his sledgehammer, you could bring him up on
It's like
stage.
dramatic.
Yeah. So we're gonna have Joe on, and we have a couple things that we're working on as a podcast that we're gonna be doing a seminar for our listeners, and Tim and I are both going to be running it. We haven't decided what location, if it'll be at Tim's location or mine, or maybe we'll do one at one and one at one at different times and different places.
We'll do competing ones. See who gets. We'll let the people.
We'll let the fans decide
vote with their feet.
Okay. I run the website, so yeah. So we'll have more information coming on that. We'll put up a page on the Ninja Rob website, and the only way we want people that listen, we'll give you the page for the seminar on one of the shows, and if you want your friends to come, share the show, and then we'll send them to the website, and we'll have them come to the seminar. But that'll be coming in the future, a Tim Carpenter, Marco Perazzo, Ninja Rob seminar. And the other thing that we're going to be doing is once Devin does it for us is a Ninja Rob sticker that we'll send it to you. We'll mail it to you, right? Then we'll do Ninja Rob Nation, right? Hashtag Ninja Rob Nation. And we'll select from all the Ninja Rob Nation posts.
Whoever does the best. I think we should sort of challenge people to put them in interesting places.
Yes.
Not just like on your car or on your book bag or whatever, but like, at church, slap it on the inside of a Bible or something.
Nice. And then whoever we deem has done the coolest or most interesting Ninja Rob Nation sticker sticking up, whatever we want to call it, will get to come on to be a co-host with Tim and I.
Put it on a cop car and you'll win.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But hey, we gotta. I mean, so let's say somebody is just insane and they do that. They like run up and slap it on a cop's forehead. I don't necessarily know if we should have that guy on the.
Well, we'd have to deem if that was Ninja Rob worthy.
Right.
If it was, then he gets to go on after he does his time for assaulting a police officer. So Ninja Rob Nation, that'll be the hashtag, the stickers. Once we get a logo, Devin, and that we can make stickers out of. Because I'm dying for some reason to have stickers.
It's not for some reason. It's because he saw the stickers that was made.
And I'm mad because I have that sticker on my laptop and I don't have my sticker on my laptop. So
are you gonna for your stickers for your school? Are you thinking of doing a different logo or keeping just that?
I've realized that I'm good at some things and I'm really bad at others. And
yeah, we're changing that.
Yeah, so I think the sticker will be like Dev was going to come up with something for the sticker, and then it'll be hopefully something cool because you're an initiated guy you're a friend of ours if you're getting an NJMA sticker, so that could be something a little bit more aggressive, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else we got going on today, buddy?
Today?
Yeah, for the podcast anyway.
Oh, we got NJ's birthday tonight. You going?
I'm gonna try and make it. I have a new student coming in. I was hoping to avoid it. Only because I was hoping to make it, and then I saw that it was Indian food, and I was hoping to avoid it.
Have you ever had Indian food?
I've had.
I've never had it.
Not a huge fan.
What is it?
Food.
But what kind of food?
Curry. That's a spice.
So
I don't know.
Eat spices?
Yeah. There's no beef typically, because the cow is sacred.
Yeah. They have meat though, like chicken and goats.
I think so. Chicken. And I know there's some tofu and different spices, samosas or mimosas. I think it's samosas.
What's a samosa?
I think it's like a pastry, like a doughy pastry wrap.
We got a lot of celebrations this week. We got NJ's birthday.
Big Kyle's wedding. Did you hear who might be at our table?
Who?
It's going to be a grappling who's who.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Should we'll put our phones, we'll do a undercover podcast.
I was thinking about wearing, or maybe it was you or somebody told me I should wear a rash guard. Yeah. I'm going to wear a suit.
I'll wear a rash guard. I'll wear one of my rash guards under my shirt.
A Hellfish?
And if
it comes down to it?
I'll take it off.
Nah.
One of the guys at your school had a rash guard that was a tuxedo.
Yeah. You have one too,
I have
right?
one.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is.
Yeah. Maybe that guy has it. I think it's D. Wayne. D. Wayne has it. So what else have we got going on today on the podcast? So we got the wedding. We got NJ's birthday.
That's not on the podcast. That's
okay.
This weekend.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I don't think we have anything else. We didn't prepare for this one.
No, we didn't, but it felt like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Hey man, it was a whole hour.
Yeah. See that? We killed it. We're like off the cuff kind of dudes. Right?
For sure.
Man.
Way off the cuff.
Way off the cuff, right off the path. So Ninja Rob seminar, it'll be free for all the listeners. We'll set up a webpage on ninjarob.com. That's how you'll register. And the only way you get to come is by registering. And there will be a question that only a listener would know, right? So if you've listened to the podcast, or maybe
Is
we'll
it like a code word?
maybe something like
Dove bear.
Dove bear. What is Dove bear from?
I don't know. You made it up.
Something I made up that I don't remember. So we'll have that going. Then the Ninja Rob stickers that we'll do Ninja Rob Nation if you want to slap it on as Tim
Cop's forehead.
of Cop's forehead. How are you going to get past the brim of the hat?
First, you got to get the hat off.
So knock
Yo,
his hat
did you
off?
see the video of that cop get her gun taken away and shot?
No.
Oh man, insane.
That was crazy.
That's terrible. It looked like that was an insanely scary moment for that woman to even have to go
'Cause
through
I think
that
what
shit.
happened was she tried to pull her gun out. He was like attacking her, so she was trying to pull her gun out.
Right.
And which was actually a mistake from one of the cops I had heard, like kind of breaking it down.
Right.
It's like she should have waited to it. Like it would have been hard for him to get the gun out of her holster. But
Yeah.
once she took it out,
Right.
then he could get a hold
She's
of it.
trying to warn him too, like, I'm gonna shoot you, I'm gonna shoot you. And he literally like holds her arm down,
Yeah.
takes the gun from her,
She gets up
and
and
she
runs,
gets
and
up and like she's like screaming. And it looked like he just shot her with one shot, like he aimed it perfectly.
Did he kill her or?
I think so.
I think so, yeah.
Wow.
And then and I think the police, you can't see because there's a bush like
Yeah.
right there. The guy puts his hands up like don't shoot me with holding the gun. But I think they see that he killed that cop.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And they got out that car and lit his
Oh,
dumb
yeah.
ass up.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, you shoot at a cop. What do you know? Like the dude in North Philly. What was that guy's name? Your buddy?
I forget his name.
Yeah. Anyway, but that sucks. And were you in class when we were talking about
Yeah.
reholstering? And
Yeah.
there's one of the things that police officers always got to understand, that there is always a gun at that scene.
Yeah, it's crazy. You just said that. You
Yeah.
said you're bringing the gun.
You're bringing the gun, and most police officers are shot with their own weapon.
Mhm.
Yeah, so those are true hard cold numbers, that they're shot with their own weapon. And holsters, especially modern holsters, are designed to not be able to have someone who isn't wearing the holster take it out. But we know that's not true, and it got
Well,
taken
I
away
think
from
a
her
lot
one.
of times is a cop pulls it, is in a struggle, and then it's in play.
Right.
Like the thing I had read, the guy was saying, he's like, if she hadn't have pulled her gun, he probably wouldn't have been able to do anything with it.
Or she would have
But-
been able to put, like, see, reholstering, like you teach the Kimura off of a gun grab, or like stuff like that. Now, the New Jersey State Police used to use an interesting gun, the H&K P7, right? It had what was called a squeeze grip decocker. So the safety on it, the gun would only fire if you squeezed on.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
I forget what this part of the gun is called, but you squeeze on the where the magazine goes into, and it goes from being in safe mode to not being in safe mode. So plenty of New Jersey cops have had the gun taken away, but the guy didn't know that he needed to squeeze his 3 fingers, not just pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Where I think Glocks, there's really no.
There's no safety.
Yeah, there's just like no real safety. I don't know if it was a Glock or not, but like they're fumbling around for a safety or whatever. But the P7 was a gun that the New Jersey State Police really believed in for a while. I don't know if they stopped making that gun, but it was something that that piece of technology made it harder for them to get shot with their own gun. That sucks though.
Yeah, no, it was crazy to see.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And they killed the assailant, the guy that shot
Oh
the cop.
man,
I
they
don't know
pulled
the
up.
backstory. I didn't hear any of the backstory. I just saw, all I saw was him shoot her, but she was like behind
Oh,
the
when the
bush.
cops rolled up, he walks up with his hands like this, but he kind of goes into the bush, but his hands are up. Man, as soon as they get
Yeah,
out
yeah.
the car, they're all like, pop, pop, pop,
Who
pop,
was
pop.
filming it?
Somebody out of their window of their
Oh,
house.
Okay. Really?
They're like
do we
in
know
their
where it
house.
happened?
I'm not sure at
Yeah.
all.
I'm just kind of curious to check that video, because that's probably something important to watch for us as martial arts instructors, because we have plenty of law enforcement just to work
It looked
on.
like a domestic, because it was like his girl or something was there, kind of like looked like she was arguing with him.
You
Yeah.
talk to cops, domestic disputes are the most violent things that they roll up on.
I could see based off of the emotion you argue with your girl. People see me arguing with my girl. It's like that's the person that gets you the most mad.
Right.
I've seen, I think it's never a good idea to get in between couples fighting, because I've seen tons of times when I was bouncer, guy and a girl, even in a physical altercation, and a man would come in to sort of to get the guy,
They'll jump you.
and then the girl would jump
Yeah,
on the
Yes,
on the-
absolutely.
on the guy.
Yeah,
And that would happen
absolutely.
almost like 99% of
Yeah.
the time. The girl is never like, yeah,
Thank
get him
you,
away
thank you
from
for
me. It's
saving me.
always,
Yeah.
Yup.
don't touch my man.
Yup.
It's crazy.
All right, that's it. The white belt beginner episode of Ninja Rob with we got
Hemorrhoid talk,
hemorrhoid talk.
law enforcement.
Joe Zap Marty coming on to talk legitimate strength, legitimate conditioning, and how one can use it in jiu-jitsu without blowing out their butthole. And seminar, Ninja Rob seminar series coming up.
Coming up, we got to set a date.
The Ninja Rob Nation sticker,
We got to get those made.
NJMA sticker. I gotta
gotta
talk
get
to.
those made.
I gotta talk to my guy, and then go from there. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Peace.
Tim and I would like to thank our sound engineer and studio owner, Devin Wade, for always doing a great job with the sound, but also the beautiful facility that we get to use here at SFX Studios. We'd also like to thank Eddie Lynn, who takes and donates his time to the podcast to do all the video editing and everything you see on our social media. So really appreciate that from Eddie Lynn. And we'd also like to thank our friend Ralphie Darden, aka DJ Major Taylor, who gave us the original music that we use. So you're welcome, Tim. For
And almost just as importantly as everybody else that he mentioned, we would like to thank all of our listeners that submitted questions.
This is the Ninja Rob Podcast with Marco Perazzo and Tim Carpenter. The podcast for the true martial artist.